The Sacramento Kings is a franchise that I'm always watching because I'm so interested in what they're going to do next. The Kings have struggled for years and years, going through so many different young players, going through so many different veterans, just to get to the same spot that they've always been in for the last, I don't know how many years. The Kings have been pretty trash, but they're improving, and over the years, they've gotten a better roster. I mean, last year they drafted Tyrese, and they got De'Aaron Fox, so the franchise is looking up. They have a young core, they have a small young core that I believe can be pretty successful. But the issue is, they're already making ripples and damages in between their young core. Their young core is a promising group of guys. I mean, just to name a few: De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Marvin Bagley. Those are the main four that you think about when you think about the Kings. Seems like the Kings and the relationship with their young guys just diminishes over time. When Buddy Hield was traded to the Sacramento Kings, it seemed like a fit made in heaven. Both him and the franchise were both excited to come together and play together. I mean, the franchise literally called him the next Stephen Curry. Insane. It seems like over time he's had situations or problems occurring with the Sacramento Kings front office. It first started when the Kings didn't know how much to pay him. That situation went public. It's totally different when you don't know how to pay a player and you keep it internal and no one knows about it, not even the player. But when the player is playing in preseason and he's still fighting for you to give him a contract extension because you're too stubborn to give it to him, that can damage your relationship with the player, because now the player is thinking that the franchise doesn't even back him up because they don't want to pay the guy. He had problems with the front office not paying him. Eventually they did give him the contract extension, but it already caused damage in the relationship. You can't expect someone to automatically fix how they feel just because you're giving them more money after you were too stubborn or too bitter to give them the money that you just gave them. Now recently, last year and this year, while Luke Walton has been a horrible coach for the Sacramento Kings, and I don't understand why he's still there, no disrespect to him as a player or as a human being, it's just Luke Walton has been a pretty bad coach for the Kings, and I just don't understand why they don't get rid of him. The rotations he puts out are kind of trash, and he never really knows when to pull or insert players. He kind of damages the team's flow. And Luke Walton seemed to have pretty big issues with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield's shooting was on a downslope this year, but not by much. Buddy Hield was almost shooting 40% from three, which is a pretty amazing stat line to have considering that you're known to be a shooter. So Buddy Hield takes a lot of shots, and he's still shooting at a 40% rate from the three-point line. Now his field goal percentage overall can be a little shaky, and his defense also. And you also got to remember, Buddy Hield is one of the older players in the NBA. He's not a young rookie like Tyrese Halliburton, or he's not a young guy like De'Aaron Fox. No, he's older than both of them by a lot. The reason why I present this problem is because it seems like Luke Walton has lost confidence in Buddy Hield. I mean, he would sit Buddy Hield at the end of close games. Maybe it was because of defensive matchups and Buddy Hield not being able to guard the other team's player. Now in the NBA, it's just pick and roll and switch. They switch onto the less defender and take advantage of him and try to get buckets in the clutch. Seems like Buddy Hield wasn't even able to stay in the game, according to Luke Walton, because he wasn't good enough to play defense, or maybe his shot wasn't falling. Which I do believe, by doing that to a player, you literally destroy his confidence. I mean, we've seen Ben Simmons sat at the end of playoff games. Clearly it destroyed his confidence. The dude doesn't even want to go back to Philadelphia. That's how bad it is. Another thing that I think is really destroying the relationship in Sacramento, now you just drafted one of the better rookies in this draft class in Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell is completely different in comparison to Buddy Hield. And when you look at this team, seems like Buddy Hield is the odd man out, especially now that you have Davion Mitchell, a defensive player, coming in to take his spot. I mean, Davion isn't going to take Fox's minutes or Halliburton's minutes because they're too good to get their minutes taken. Davion Mitchell is a different type of player. He's a defensive first player, which is what the Kings are lacking in their guard depth. They don't have any defensive presences. Yes, De'Aaron Fox, he's improving as a defender, but he's not known for his defense like the off night is. So that's why I really do think when they drafted Davion Mitchell, it sort of seemed like that was the franchise's first steps into getting rid of Buddy Hield. They probably don't even see him in their future plans, and that's all good, because honestly, they literally just tried to trade him away to the Lakers. Having contract issues, having coaching issues, drafting a new rookie that literally plays the same position as him. So on top of having contract issues, having coaching issues, drafting a new player in the same position that he plays, the Kings almost traded the guy. And I think this is one of the biggest damages to the relationship, because you already have so much going on, especially with this one player. You have damaged the relationship so much, and now you try to trade him and the trade falls through. Now it's sort of an awkward situation where you don't know what to do with the guy because you just almost traded him. So I do think that the Kings should get rid of Buddy Hield, simply because you've just damaged the relationship so much. And if Buddy Hield still wants to stay in Sacramento, props to him. I would love that. It's going to be so difficult having a new rookie coming in Davion Mitchell and him not being able to really get any minutes because you're playing Buddy Hield. But the situation that they brought Davion Mitchell into is going to be pretty rough for him, especially because this is his first time getting some steps into the NBA. He's a brand new rookie, and he plays totally different in comparison to the other guys. Davion Mitchell is going to be a guy that they're going to want to have around, especially next to Fox and Halliburton. Buddy Hield just seems like the odd man now. Maybe they can make it work, but that's a lot of money going into a guy that isn't even going to be your starter or your closer. It's so much money, and I do think, and I don't really have any trade proposals. I mean, maybe you could just trade the guy to Philadelphia. It's the easiest answer to say. I don't really have any in-depth trades. I don't really like making them, but I personally do believe the Kings would be better off trading him. Buddy Hield would be better off being traded. He'd have a more advanced role. He'd have a team that trusts him more than the Kings, and you wouldn't have so much background issues with that franchise if he is traded. So I do believe the Buddy Hield situation is a pretty ugly one that no one really talks too much about. Buddy Hield should be traded in the coming days. Maybe you let the season start. Maybe you see what Davion Mitchell has, and then you make your decision. But having Davion Mitchell with so much promise next to Fox and Halliburton can be a scary, scary duo or trio simply because they can all complement each other so well. So that's my thoughts and opinions regarding the Buddy Hield situation. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you think Buddy Hield should be traded or if you think the Kings can just work it out with Buddy Hield. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly do appreciate all the love and support. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notified. And I am out of here. Peace.